So, some might be wondering what's going on today on May 2nd, 2026, Saturday. I am preparing to go on a nice long road trip to Florida with the 3500. Before I reveal the contents of these two totes, let me just get the question out of the way first of why I'm going with these two totes here and not my UWS Undertone chest box is actually a couple of reasons. The first reason being the box alone is very expensive and I hate the idea of having something happen to it. Those two totes, yeah, they're pretty cheap and I could sleep at night if something happened to those. The other reason is I gotta think in terms of what if something goes amok and I need to rent a vehicle. Now, nothing's gonna harm your vacation more than having to unexpectedly rent a vehicle, and it would be not good. It would really suck if I was forced to rent a truck because of that box. And a rental truck is not going to have a tonneau cover. Or even if I was renting an SUV like a Suburban or a Tahoe, when you fold the seats down, the back of them are not protected and you're dragging that box across the back of them, likely to do damage, and that liability's on you. So you're just going to save yourself a lot of horse manure by leaving it at home. So with all of that in mind, yeah, a couple of totes are a lot easier to maneuver around any rental vehicle. Hell, I can be rented a good sized sedan and just slide these in the back seat. So with all that out of the way, now let's start digging in and seeing what I brought for myself to prepare for this long road trip. First, we should start with a good light. What you're looking at here is the Milwaukee M18 Rover. You can use any old M18 battery. I wanted some good life, and I have other Milwaukee tools I use, but here you go. Here is what the 12.0 looks like. Yeah, even has vents on the bottom. Yeah, this is a big son of a gun right here. Here's a side shot of the Rover grabbing my bed rails. Let me zoom in a little bit for you right here. Yeah, that is kind of cool. Except to change one of the tires in the back, it's pretty easy. Got some really good lighting, and let me tell you, this has some really good output, this Rover light. And don't forget, I have my side steps, so this light, as best as this camera can pick it up here, hey, look at that. Gonna start on the side steps, so we're gonna mess with the front tires or any other roadside repairs I need to make. Yep, this really comes in handy for that. So I think we can all agree now, having a good light is very important. Now, if you want to have this model of your very own, I will leave a link in the description. It will be Home Depot, as Home Depot is considered an authorized dealer of Milwaukee, and Home Depot's pretty common to come by. And yes, to any of you Milwaukee owners who have the M12 series or only have the M12 series, yeah, they have a slightly smaller version of this that takes the M12. So make sure you're looking at that. Not that this catches your eye on this display and you grab the wrong one, but I have the M18 variant, and any M18 battery will go into that one. I'm glad I could have the opportunity to show you what the 12.0 looks like. And before we reveal what's in the tote, I just want to show a couple of things that you should have on board as well. A good torque wrench, of course. That would not be a bad thing to have. Make note of your wheel's torque specs. So if you got to change a tire on the side of the road. And a pry bar. It can be a very versatile tool. I like the 90-degree bend here. This is just somewhat offset. If you got a big truck like mine, you can actually use this to try to lift the tire up if you're in a pinch. So I'm thinking those are two worthwhile things to have. Now typically I always carry this on board even when I'm not on vacation. My back seat folds upwards and I keep this under the back seat. So yeah, I always have a torque wrench with me. So with that out of the way, let's finally break it down and see what's in the tote. And if you're wondering where I got this tote from, it was from Home Depot. It's the HDX brand, 27 gallon. Here you go. That's the SKU number right here. So you can punch it on the website and even order on the website if you want to. Okay, so here's all the contents of that tote, and it's going to be more or less a quick overview. Maybe I'm going to be a little more detailed on this bag, but more on that in a second. So let me reveal to you the first thing I have. First thing I like to carry is a whole oil change worth of oil. In the case of me, I take 7 quarts of the Amsoil Signature Series 0W40. I have 1 4-quart with 3 individual quarts and the Mopar MO339 oil filter. That's strictly for the oil change. I have another box that has more spare oil if I have to, let's say, add oil when on the road, but I'm trying to make something that doesn't leave the kit that I created. See, it says it right here. Road trip. Obviously, you know what the bottles look like. There's plenty of videos of me pouring Ian's oil into 3500, so I'm not about to disturb this box, so that's all there is on that. Next, I think it would be wise to invest in a 1/4-inch drive socket set as well as a 3/8 drive socket set. So here they are, and here's what they look like. Do a little close up here, and yes, I'll leave a link in the description to them. See, a nice hard case for all these sockets to snap into. Yeah, I'm not taking any of my tools from home. The other reason being, those are the nicer craftsman one that my father got me. So I want nothing to happen to them. I would feel terrible if something ever happened to them. So that's why I have these here. Because again, this will be a part of a kit that I'll just put away when I'm not on a road trip. So that's why I did what I did here. And yes, there will be links in the description for this 1/4-inch drive kit as well as this 3/8 drive kit. They seem to come in both metric and standard, and they are all 6-point as well. No 12-pointers in these kits. And then next you probably think about, what about wrenches and screwdrivers and pliers and other possible power tools you might need? Yeah, well, that's all here in this bag. And luckily, I left a tag on it, never had a chance to rip it out yet, but I got this from Harbor Freight. It's the Bauer 16-inch tool bag. Here is the part number right here. There we go. Back away and zoom out. Yeah, explain that. But there's your number right there if you want to get a bag like this one. Okay, so here's everything that's in that Bauer 16-inch tool bag. I'm going to break it down for you, and I'll be throwing it in the bag as I reveal what I have in there. I'm going to start with a combination wrench set. This I did get from Amazon. So, yes, there'll be a link in the description for that. Man, these ain't bad. Even got a 22 millimeter right here, which is the same as 7/8. Next, some screwdrivers. Now, these actually came in a book, but that was totally useless to me, so I just chucked it. And I'm also going to take this chance right now to show you what the inside of the Bauer 16-inch tool bag looks like. And here it is. Here's my wrench set all nicely rolled up. Here's my screwdrivers. Here's the 2 stubby screwdrivers. You have some storage pockets on the inside. And then next, some vice grips. This came in a pair, or a set rather, from Amazon. I'll also leave a link in the description for these. Also, a set of pliers. I got some diagonal cutters. These offset needle nose sliders, regular needle nose sliders. This I did buy at Harbor Freight, and it came as a set. Also from Harbor Freight, these water pump pliers. That's what they call them anyway. These grip like vice grips, but they don't lock. And I like this button here. But the Craftsman ones I have. So yeah, they're just called water pump pliers. Punch that in and you should be able to find these on the Harbor Freight website. The next thing I want to show is some power tools that wouldn't be bad to have. I have a small impact driver. Let's say I'm putting the wheel back on. I just want to get it snug. This M12 is very handy for that. And I have its battery. And also, I always keep the batteries out of the power tools when they're in the bag and being transported. Some 2 extra M18 batteries here. Now, I'm not sure which model this 1/2-inch drive Milwaukee impact driver is. This is my father's. He's just lending it to me. That's actually what inspired me to get this bag here. So, I only had to take his tool and not have to mess up his other stuff. So, that's in the bag. No pun intended. I also want to advise that you get these as well. One's a 1/4-inch, 3/8, and 1/2-inch. Yeah, you can get them in a set like this, you know, to go in your impact driver, whatever impact driver you try to get. I should know the proper name for this, but I don't. That goes in the bag. Once again, show what the inside of the bag looks like. See, I have them right there with my stubby screwdrivers, and this is why I have the more compact M12 battery. Well, that's just what it came with, but this is why I like it. See? Have it right here in this inner pocket as well. And to finally top off what is in this bag here, this is a non-marring 22mm socket. This I do have a link in the description for. This is called a Torx socket because this is already built into it. Not a Torx stick, for those who want to get technical here. And hey, I'm carrying all this stuff just in case I run into someone on the road who might be in trouble. I have the other common size of impact socket here. Got a 17, a 19, and a 21. Now this is a 22. There is that. And the one final thing I want to show. Not sure where the hell I got these. Probably Amazon, but I couldn't find it. But do yourselves a favor, folks. Especially those who worked on cars long enough. The 10mm sockets always get lost. So I went ahead and I have some spare 10mm sockets, 6-point, deep and shallow. That's it for everything that's in the tool bag. And obviously, all those power tools are for nil if you have no way of charging them up afterwards. Now, Milwaukee does have a few different models that charge both the M18 and the M12. I couldn't find this model again at Home Depot. It said like not available when I looked on my order history. So what I do have in the description is a link to another model that's more or less this. Same function. It will have the ability to charge both your M18 and your M12s. So just want to put that little tidbit out there that the link in the description is not exactly going to be that model, but a model that can do both batteries. And finally, before I can finally close the big black tote, yep, some shop towels and some garbage bags. Got these from Harbor Freight as well. And that is everything for the large tote here. So, see, I have it packed like so. I know you don't see it too well in here, but the garbage bags I put here. Here's my 1/4" drive, 3/8 drive, the Bauer bag and all the stuff that ensues, and my shop towels. And I don't want to do anything to make this tote any heavier, so that's the little green one comes in. More on that in a moment, but it's not going to be as elaborate as this one, so that one is going to move along. Okay, now we have the smaller tote, which is less involved and less elaborate. This is mainly what's carrying, in terms of tools, just a few different hammers. Not that I don't think I'll get into a situation that crazy, but I'm putting in that tote so I don't overload the other tote. And let me quickly show you what's in this box right here. Mainly spare fluids. Extra quart of oil, because that other box you saw, that was for a whole oil change worth of oil. I don't want to disturb that. But my motor's not having any problems. Shouldn't need that. Never hurts to have any transmission fluid. My differentials and transfer case take 75-85 gear oil. And in this box is also a first aid kit, some touch-up paint, because why not? And just some bags. To speed things up here, yeah, a couple different hammers. A ball peen here, a rubber mallet, a magnet tray, so you can hold your hardware, whether it's you're making a repair or you're a lug nut, so you don't scatter them on the road and make somebody go, oh, fudge. Yeah. And a tap. M14 by 1.5 to be exact, because I do have the means to clip this to my side steps with some vice grips and run a lug nut through it. If I had to, that likelihood is always there. I don't know why this camera won't focus on it. But, yes, that's a Chrysler thing. Them and their friggin' lug nuts, couldn't tell you why. And to really wrap it up with this tote, obviously, have a service manual. Make sure you have the right manual for your vehicle. Some fuses, and a puller. This is a little variety pack. I should get some mini fuses, but I'll stop for some on the road. Not that I see me having to do anything spark plug related, but of all those screws I salvaged when I did my coils, yes, you can't buy just these screws. So if you're doing coils, do yourself a favor and salvage these screws. I have those in there. Still a good idea to have a stud and lug nut. Yeah, they're outside of the bag so it doesn't glare up on the camera. And then finally, a spare drain plug. Just in case you can't stop at a dealer. Maybe you stop at a local shop or the dealer doesn't have one, whatever the strange reason. Be a stupid way to strand yourself, so doesn't hurt to have a spare drain plug as well. And yes, always go OEM with that. Well, that wraps it up for this tote. Just want to quickly show you inside. There's my magnet tray, my hammers, everything else I showed you I threw in this box. And yes, I have funnels for these fluids. They're in my truck. I don't think I need to show that though. And here's my service manual. Here are the final things I want to show what you should bring in. Maybe some have already wondered, why did I have the spare tire out? Well, it's because of the way I'm loading the bed. Because here's something to think about. Especially to those of you watching this who might be pickup owners. You know the spare tire's under the truck and what a cluster it can be to get it out. And imagine having to fart around with that while it's dark out, or you're the side of the road, or you break down where you really don't want to, and you want to get the hell out of there as fast as you can. And do you think that dinky little jack that's able to fit under the front seat is going to really be trustworthy or give you the lift you need? No, it won't. So that's why I'm going to put my spare in the bed. I'm going to show you how I loaded everything else in just a second, but that's why I have my spare here. And yes, I have a couple pictures of it in action when I had the rear hub done. Had to walk around with that spare, or I should rather say drive around with that spare for like a day until I get the tire cleaned of all the grease in that leaking hub. But anyhow, yes, this spare tire has seen action. And yes, I've checked the tire pressure in it. I put it the max 80 PSI you can fit in the tire. And it's been washed, cleaned, decontaminated, even ceramic coated. So, over to the jack. I have two of the same model. I already have the other one broken apart in the bed. But see, you can take this nut out here. You're going to use a 17mm socket. And then this just pops right out. Well, here's everything all strapped down now. And then some. A few extra things. I want to take up the space here. I have a jack stand and my tire repair kit, which is all the tools you need to repair a tire. A bunch of other goodies, put in a compact box. I don't think I need to show that. My usual towing kit right here. Yes, that's a different box. The other one broke. Finally, a close-up of how I strapped everything down. There's my factory loop right here for the hook. And as you get right here by the jack, what I want to show you is I actually detached it from the ratchet strap, from the ratchet part of it. So I could start here, loop it through this bar, like so. So now this jack won't bang around and damage things. This is going to stay right where it is. This is going to stay where it is. Yeah, this ain't going anywhere. In that space here I tucked in some extra washer fluid. Probably pick up some more. And like I said, it'd be a good idea to have a jack stand. I went with the one that has that safety pin you can put in there. And that's pretty much all there is to show here. And obviously, all this space here in the bed is where my spare tire will go. And here we go. Everything all loaded up, including, yes, you've seen that right, a step stool. Simple two-step step stool. Make it easy to get on and off the bed if that need should arise. Always try to not strain yourself. Advice I'm especially not to give nowadays, now that the 4.0 is around the corner for me. But anyway, this is pretty much everything. And then there's one last thing I want to show you. So here is the final thing I want to show you. You heard me talk about what if you got to stop at a shop or a dealership. Depending on what your situation may be, you want to have all your contact and vehicle information and even your primary dealership. You see, with any important notes. And here's what I mean. So you obviously want them to know who you are, right? So you have your name right here. And yes, this is just modified for security reasons. That'll be your phone number, clarify it's your cell, your home, your email. I'll leave the mileage blank here. See, year / make / model. Have it just so. There's obviously all the information. Know your trim level, your body style, what motor you have. Figure that out as best as you can. Obviously your color, obviously your license plate, and the VIN number. And the thing I like to do personally is I like to highlight the last date of the VIN. Stands out. And also, whether you go to a dealership or a personal shop, or private shop rather, they have to order a part, they're likely to use the last date of the VIN. So highlight the last date of the VIN. In the case of me, because I have that Mopar Max Care, which is a Chrysler warranty, I am more likely not to end up at a Chrysler dealership. And finally, if you have something that's worth noting, so you don't have to write it every time or worry about forgetting to write it, like I have the Evans coolant in my cooling system. I wouldn't want any shop to accidentally start adding water to it. So, something a little attention getting, stop. Do not any add water, blah, blah, blah. I think you get the gist of it. And then I just have the work requested and all that right there, what you might want to jot down. And on a side note, because I'm more likely to hit up a dealership if something went amok, on top of all the hotels I'll be stopping at, I have taken the time via the official Chrysler website to see what's the closest dealerships to the places in question I'm staying. So I took the time to do that, add that to my contact system, what have you. I advise you do the same or whatever shop that be. That's pretty much all I have to show here. Well, that's pretty much a wrap. I think I've showed everything I had to show. I'm sure there's a few oddball things I forgot that I'll probably just throw in after the fact. Like, yes, I do have my scan tool. I carry that in the cab with me. It's practically mandatory to have a scan tool if you own a Dodge. So, yeah, I got that with me as well. And I'm just looking forward, as I'm really psyched about doing this. This is something I've been wanting to do for well over 15 years now. That's all I wanted to show. Any and all input is greatly appreciated. I'd like to know what you might do to prepare for a long road trip. I'd love to hear it. Thanks for watching. Be safe out there. Have a good evening, and don't be a stranger.